Crane operators in full concentration. The site they're working on is a new exhibition hall in Hamburg. The two men have a particularly bulky load on the hook at the moment, one of two 20-meter-long escalators, which in future will take visitors up and down with no effort at all. But that comes later. Just now, it seems like pure chaos on the building site, and the deadline for opening is approaching fast. Supervising the installation is Jan Scheel, responsible for making sure both escalators are working in time for the opening. The schedule is very tight, and there's still a lot to be done. Next Friday they'll be erecting the first exhibition booths, so it's rather chaotic here just now. But when the first escalator is in place, we can push on with the other and make up lost time. Flashback to 4 a.m. the same morning. In freezing cold and gusting snow, the first of the two 10-ton escalators is lifted onto a flatbed trailer. The escalator manufacturer ThyssenKrupp has a marshalling yard at its factory with gantry cranes. But in spite of technical assistance, the men still have to perform precision work in adverse weather conditions. It's almost an artistic task. The two cranes must run in absolute synchronization, both at the same time. They have no voice contact, but do everything with eye contact and hand signals. And now we sweep the truck clean to make sure the load is secure by placing it on a slip-proof underlay. Straps and heavy iron chains secure the load firmly. To prevent the escalator falling from the transporter during the journey, the men lash the load diagonally. Rather more than 10 tons. That's important information for the crane operators later. Heavy goods transportation in driving snow, but the driver keeps his nerve. It's all in a day's work for me. Of course, in these weather conditions it's a bit different, and we've got to be even more careful than usual. But otherwise, it's nothing special. First, it's taken very gently round the corner. Then Guido Bohnensack drives a steady 50 kilometers an hour along the road to the exhibition centre 12 kilometers away. The transporter measures 4 meters 26 in height. That was a close shave, with most bridges in Hamburg no higher than 4 meters 20. Before the morning rush hour, the lorry with its heavy load must be off the road. Done. Daylight is slowly breaking. The driver has reached the exhibition site punctually. Now it's the turn of the crane operators. For the next part, they will be putting their skills to the test. Jan Scheel's installation team takes a final look at the plans. Here we have the escalator as it should be installed. It's got to be carried over here. There's our bottom support, there's the top support. Here you can see the wall, here at the front. And here, the escalator numbers, the way to put them in. This is the bottom again, this is the top. Of course, we've got to be careful to install them the right way round, because one will be for going up and one for going down later on. It's best to make sure they're the right way round. We're still waiting for the first escalator to be brought into the hall. People on the exhibition site are very busy. The ground is soft and the entrance narrow. Many problems all at once for the supervisor, who's always under time pressure. But he can rely on his team as it cautiously conducts the Colossus through the narrow opening. At last, the escalator has reached its destination, the new exhibition hall with its almost 10,000 square meter floor area. Jan Scheel and his team can begin unpacking it. Rudi, come here. We'll cut it from the middle at the bottom along the side. An escalator in one piece like this isn't so easy to handle, but there's no other option. Whenever possible, the escalator is transported in one piece. That's simply because to split it into segments would raise production costs on the one hand and increase installation time on the other. That would make the escalator considerably more expensive. Slowly, the escalator is lifted. Extreme care must be taken that it doesn't start swaying. The truck reverses out of the hall, and now the space is clear to turn the escalator so it faces the wall. It has to hover precisely above the two support points. The sign language used by the installation team works perfectly. Now we'll see whether the builders have followed the escalator manufacturer's instructions properly. We've already rechecked all measurements. Now to test whether theory and practice actually agree. It's an exciting moment. In a minute, we'll see if the escalator really fits into the support bays. Now, wooden slabs are placed between the escalator and concrete. Their purpose is to absorb oscillations that occur when the machine is in operation later and vibrates slightly. They also allow adjustments to be made. It fits. It fits. The ropes can be unhooked. The first escalator is in place. Now for the second one. It's on its way already. Both escalators must be installed parallel next to each other. That's to reduce the risk of people stumbling and, not least, for an aesthetic appearance. When the support brackets are embedded firmly in the concrete, the escalators interlock and then sit solid as a rock. The installation team does its job with passion. For example, a normal shopping trip with Jan Scheer turns into a nightmare for his wife. My wife always says now I can go and take a look at all the escalators and suggests we meet later here or there or in some department or other. And then I go and look. I can't tell you why. I always inspect the situation. How would I get an escalator in here or take one out? It's all because of the work I do. Spirit levels and measuring instruments are used in a fine tuning. The only screws necessary during installation are for final alignment. Now, all they need is power. The motor's power rating is 13.5 kilowatts. That's 13,500 watts, or the equivalent of 7 washing machines working flat out. Full program, 95 degrees. And then the 7 washing machines slowly start to move the stairs. The escalator is ready for its first test run. At the moment, we're testing whether any stones are in the escalator and whether there's anything else inside that could damage the cones. After this, we can fit the steps and then check all safety contacts to make sure they're working. That's so we don't get any problems from the authorities later on. Job complete. Yet the esteemed technicians discover the child in their hearts and ride the escalator with joy, up and down, again and again.